What's going on, everybody? I'm King Basics, and today we're back with some Buried. We left off with a monster, whatever these creatures are. One of them had Dennis in its grasp after he selflessly attempted to save my life. Now the decision is, do we wait, as Dennis told us, and not shoot? Will Dennis get free? Now the decision is, should we wait while Dennis attempts to get free from this monster, as others are starting to encircle him? Or do we shoot off Dennis's hand, which would free him from the monster, and we could all get out safely at that point? This is a tough decision. This is life-altering decisions. If we don't shoot, there's a potential that Dennis dies. If we do shoot, we're taking off one of his most valuable assets in his hand. Alright? So, do we wait? Dennis gets away, he told us. No, he gasps, as the creature tosses him around by his hand like a puppet. Don't shoot, I can get free. I can't tell if he's right. If the other monster's starting to encircle him, I need to act fast. Oh man. I think what we're gonna do is act now and ask for forgiveness later. That's gotta be our best bet. I'm shooting off his hand. If I don't take the shot while I have it, they're going to kill him. In a last-ditch effort, I try getting a good shot of the monster, but there is none. I'll hurt Dennis even worse if I try. I take aim and fire off a shot. The shot lands perfectly and results in a lot of blood, screams from both Dennis and the creature. Dennis's hand disappears into a spray of red, and the monster's appendage simply fades away. It literally seemed to wink out of the existence. The creature screeches while Dennis hits the floor, wailing in pain. The reality of what I've just done sets in and it nearly paralyzes me. Get him, Amy says. I'll cover you. I nod. Still reeling from the sight of what I've done to Dennis, I stumble out the door. Amy is true to her word. She fires off a few rounds into the approaching monsters as I make it to Dennis. I grab a hold of him with my good arm. I drag him backwards as fast as I can, nearly falling down in the process. When I reach the doorway, Amy reaches down and helps me drag his body the final few feet into the room. She manages to pull off another shot, and when I look to see what she has hit, there's another dozen or so of monsters. Dennis is writhing in pain, and when he looks up to me, he is sneering. "You crazy asshole," he screams. He shudders violently, sweat and tears coursing down his pale face. Amy slams the door behind us. Finally, we're inside the room, hopefully safe within what looks like an isolation chamber of some sort. Along the frame, a little electrical lock beeps as the door is secured. Well, guys, I don't think Dennis is too happy with us right now. But it was either that or he surely dies. You and 49% of players shot to weaken the creature, not kill it. Wow, that's a pretty split decision there, huh? You and 41% of players distracted the creature instead of shooting it. You and 43% of players took the shotgun instead of the handgun. You and 57% of players disobeyed Dennis' wishes to not shoot, causing him to lose his hand. Those were all pretty split right down the middle with the rest of everybody else playing this game, huh? Begin chapter 5. We are now inside a large, reinforced chamber of almost like the inside of a submarine. Near us is the door, shut tight. Far away from us along the back wall, and all sorts of controls and monitors, it seems clear that this metal door is impenetrable, at least to them. I'm fairly sure that they aren't getting in. Dennis looks like a walking corpse, and I do everything in my power to not let this show in my expression. His face is a grimace. He shouts out at me, "To hell with you!" "What were you thinking?" Blood pools on the floor below wherever he holds his arm. I say nothing. It's all too much. My brain feels like jelly. "We need to get him some help or he's going to bleed to death," Amy says. We are interrupted by a man's voice booming behind us. "Just what in the hell do you think you're doing?" The man roars. He's an older man who seems to exude power and authority, but he also looks tired and scared. I assume this is Barksdale. He walks over to us from the back recess of the chamber. "We didn't have a choice," Amy responds. "We had to." "Did you override the locks on the hangar doors?" Barksdale demands. "Yes, I did, but we had to." "Do you have any idea what you could have done?" Amy doesn't answer right away. She's furious, but she's also scared and visibly exhausted. Stay quiet. This has to be Barksdale. I'm gonna stay quiet for a minute. "Look, Barksdale," she said. "You can berate me and lecture me all you want when this mess is over. But right now, I have a wounded civilian here, and as you can see, several entities trying to get into this room. So if you could actually do something instead of sitting on your throne and yelling at me, that would be great. I'm impressed by your guts and wonder if there's some sort of beef between the two of them. Surely working in a place like this could cause some stress and tension between people." As we wait, I notice a small peephole in the door. I go to it and look out to the things. They're still looking for a way in, but finding no success. I wonder if they can sense or somehow see me through the door. I'm not going to flip them the bird. I'm not going to flip them the bird. That might anger them a little bit more, if they even know what it means. I still don't understand what these things are capable of, and trying to figure it out hurts my head, so I decide to leave them be. "You'll be reprimanded for speaking to me in such a way," Barksdale says to Amy. "Reprimand me all you want. I'd like to survive this first." "Cover your ears," Barksdale shouts, walking away towards the far end of the room. "Stay put until you hear back from me." "Thank you," Amy says, with fire in her voice. She then turns to me and says, "Better do what the man says." Cover ears. I clap my hands over my ears just in time to protect my hearing from the deafening blast. I am still bleeding, and the sudden movement to cover my ears makes me feel dizzy. Dennis clumsily covers one ear with his hand and one ear with his bandaged arm. When I see the shape he is in, I get myself in check. Compared to Dennis, I'm in tip-top shape. I did that. I took the shot that took off his hand. I need to make all of that mean something. More bursts of a loud, explosive noise start ringing out. Looking through the peephole again, I see the core of one of the beasts explode. It vanishes in a puff of smoke and a clear liquid. Looking to my left, I see Barksdale in a shooting stance at the far side of the room. He's firing through a small slit in the wall. He's using some kind of high-powered weapon, the likes of which I've never seen before. I see a slight movement of the gun kicks, accompanied by a flickering of white light. Immediately, another monster is downed, its tentacles flailing around aimlessly as most of its core is torn through. I instantly feel gratitude and immense satisfaction in knowing that they are being picked off in such a way. Let's sit down and watch, or rest. Sit down and rest. I slide down against the door and simply wait, listening to the occasional patter of what I assume is their blood on the wall. I don't know how much time passes, maybe 5 seconds, maybe 5 minutes, and I don't care. It feels nice to lay down. When the firing is over, I barely even notice it. Soon after, Barksdale walks back over to our side of the room. They're all gone. Barksdale says, and I have resealed the hangar doors. How'd you kill them like that? I ask. Classified weapons that, quite frankly, you have no business being near. Amy gets to her feet and returns to the panel on the wall. Thanks. How badly... Excuse me. How badly are the civilians hurt? Barksdale asks. One is in very bad shape. Amy says. He's lost a hand and a lot of blood. The other is not too bad. I see a laceration on his back and that's about it. Okay, I'll have Strickland get a med kit. Strickland survived? Amy asked, sounding cheerful. Yes, and until you and your friend showed up, I thought we were the only ones. Hang tight, she's on her way. With that said, he retreats away to the back of the room, as if he can't stand to be around us. Amy approaches me and looks me over. You're in good hands. Strickland will be able to fix you up. Is she a doctor or something? Sort of. She's also a physicist, but oddly enough, she spent time as a trauma nurse in the army. Is Strickland a friend of yours? Amy chuckles. Yeah, we've known each other for a while. The only woman in a sea of overachieving men. Barksdale sounds like a prick. That's because he is, Amy says, but he runs this place, so he sort of has that right. Yeah, Washington or a facility buried under the woods of Kentucky, gender roles stay the same, she says, rolling her eyes. Within a few seconds, the door behind us opens and a woman appears from back further in the chamber. She enters the room with what looks like a small suitcase. She's dressed in a very basic and drab military getup, complete with a holstered sidearm. My name is Connie Strickland, she says. I can patch you guys up pretty well, but it's going to hurt. She looks closely at Dennis, looking him over with precise care and attention. You're not in the best shape. He responds in a grunt. Seriously, I can fix you up, but only temporarily. You need intensive care for that arm. First things first, though. Strickland pours a liquid over his maimed arm and starts stitching. She then wraps his arm in 3 entire spools of gauze. Blood shows through right away. That's the best I can do for now, she tells him, giving him a sympathetic frown. I could care less, Dennis mutters. I'm a cripple. Do whatever you want, as though it matters. Strickland then looks to me. Sit down and let's see if we can get your shirt off, she says. I sit down slowly and start unbuttoning my shirt. She has to help me slip it off my shoulders, but we manage. How bad is it? I ask. Bad, she answers. It's almost like a burn. But I've seen much worse. Your friend here, for example? I might as well talk to Strickland, if only to distract from the pain. What's your story? Let's hear your story, girl. Strickland rolls her eyes as she gathers up a needle and some thread. I was always into fringe science. I started in labs where these eccentric Russian scientists were being funded by the US to work on combining DNA types. I sort of became obsessed with perfecting human physiology while I was a trauma nurse in the army. You were a mad scientist then, I say? I get that a lot. But no, not compared to the stuff we do here. I don't even want to know. What kind of stuff? What kind of stuff do you do? It's complicated. Comar masses. Quantum gravity. Crunching things down into their Schwarzschild radiuses. Fun stuff. Yeah, a mad scientist, I say, trying to keep myself calm with dry humor. There are a lot of small labs working on this same stuff, she argues. They just don't have our funding. When you guys ran in here, she says, I was horrified. Those barrels outside, I'm not sure if you saw them. Well, if you'd shot them, it could have been bad. Why? I ask. The gray ones are filled with an experimental fuel that is highly flammable. The yellow ones contain liquid nitrogen. What? I ask, just laying around? Well, this area is the safest in the building, the most secure. Well, it used to be anyways. And take this, she says, handing me 4 pills, painkillers. They won't work immediately, but they'll dull the worst of what you're feeling. Are these the best idea? I ask. Won't they make me dizzy or out of sorts or something? All I get in response is an annoyed and determined look. I'm not gonna take the painkillers. Really, I say. I don't want to get lightheaded in case we have to move fast. I can handle it. Your call, Strickland says as she starts working on me. She slathers the wound with some sort of liquid that stings like crazy, and I gasp. Grin and bear it. Be a man. Be a man. Ready to stab me yet? Strickland asks. I'm fine, I hiss. I wince as she dabs at my eye, swollen from where Marcus kicked me. I grit my teeth in pain and try to catch my breath. Dennis comes out of his haziness and tries speaking to Strickland, but his words are slurred. White light from the ground, Dennis says. You think that caused the power outage? You think that brought the monsters out? Could be, Strickland says, but your crew was far enough away from the facility, or at least we thought you were. Dennis chuckles in a way that makes him sound menacing. Nope, wrong. You thought wrong. So you and Barksdale are the only survivors, Amy asks. It seems that way. Those that didn't disappear into thin air were killed by those things, Strickland says, nodding to the secured door. How many were killed then? I'm guessing 30 or so, Strickland says. I'm not sure how many were scheduled to come in today. I'm glad to see you. Where were you when it happened? Amy asks. I was in the micro lab on level 2, Strickland replies. Park and O'Brien were in there with me and they just disappeared. It looked like they were being stretched, distorted, and then there's a ball of white light and they were gone. The ball of light that just annihilated everything it touched. Would it leave a perfectly round hole? I ask, a light bulb turning on in my head. We saw some of those up at the logging site. Yeah, and I saw a ball of white light too, Dennis chimes in. That was probably the same phenomenon, Strickland replies. Amy looks at the ground like a child that is afraid to ask an adult for something. Finally, she asks, where did they go? We don't know, Strickland says. It could be an infinite number of different dimensions, or even some dimensions that merge and mix together. It could also be a place that exists between dimensions. Barksdale calls it the void. How is that possible? We don't know that just yet, Strickland says. Our understanding of space-time is evolving, especially when you start warping it like we have been doing, Amy adds. The point seems to be the end of the conversation, as both women fall quiet. I wince through the rest of Strickland's stitching, feeling the tug of my skin, but thankfully no more flowing blood. Finally, Strickland says, you're good to go. She looks over to Dennis one more time. He doesn't so much as stir when she rechecks her work. She's already having to remove the gauze on his wrist as it's soaked through with blood. The wound looks like it's starting to clot, so that's good at least. I stare at the floor as Strickland does what she can. Will he make it? I ask. I'm not a doctor, Strickland says. Not really. But based on the bit I do know, I'd say it's about 50-50 right now. So have you and Barksdale been able to contain all those creatures? Amy asked. Strickland appears shocked, clearly not the reaction Amy was expecting. Contain? Are you nuts? Do you not know what's happening? Amy's eyes widen in fearful confusion. What do you mean? What's happening? Other than the initial experiment failure. The anomalies are becoming more numerous and further from the source, Strickland says. The casual humor in her voice is now gone. Further from the source. From the location of the original experiment, she says. The experiment caused the first doorway to open, but it set off a chain reaction. They are gaining momentum along geodesics, emanating from the facility. It's these pockets of exotic matter and negative energy that are letting those things in. What the hell does that mean? Dennis asks. It means, Amy chimes in, that those doorways and monsters are starting to appear all over the facility, maybe even the surface. Not yet, luckily, Strickland says, but the doorways will start appearing on the surface, and it won't stop there. The Anomalies' reach could extend infinitely as far as we know. Those entities will appear on the surface in other states, other countries. Holy shit, I say. You mean the world is going to be overrun? The horror of the past few hours has made me ready to believe anything. But this is almost too much. Unfortunately, yes, Strickland says. My God, Amy says, stepping away. Isn't there anything we can do? There is a last resort, Strickland says, her eyes darting over to Barksdale at the back of the room. There's an emergency fail-safe switch. What? Amy says. I never heard that. Where? You weren't cleared for it, Strickland replies. And that switch, Amy says, is the way to stop this. Yes, Strickland says, seeming uneasy with the conversation. So why haven't you hit the switch already? Well, there's two problems with hitting it, Strickland replies. The switch is our eraser. It destroys the entire facility and terminates any systems or experiments that are being conducted. It's also an emergency shutdown for interdimensional travel. It puts an event horizon around the facility. What the hell is that? I ask, incredulous. It's the perimeter of a black hole, she replies, the boundary inside which nothing can escape, not even light. So the first problem is we'd all be killed, sucked into a black hole before we'd have time to evacuate. The second reason, Strickland whispers, suddenly quiet, is that Barksdale won't allow it. What? Amy gasps. Why not? He wants to allow those things to flood the surface. Thousands, millions will die. Strickland puts her hands up, silencing Amy. They both peer over to the far side of the room, where Barksdale is his back turned. I know. He says he doesn't care. He says he'll be happy to get rid of the oversight, so he can continue his work. The oversight? Amy almost screams, regaining control over her voice when Strickland gives her another look of warning. You mean our government? I ask. He's aware these could disrupt and even topple our government and doesn't care. Strickland sighs. Barksdale is, well, he's off the range right now. He's gone rogue. He's armed. This comment makes me look towards shotgun I brought in with me, and I nearly forget in the last few moments. While Barksdale has his back turned to us, I take it in my hands and slide it behind me. Just in time, too, as Barksdale walks over from the back of the room to our side of the chamber. He gives Strickland a suspicious look before speaking to her. Are you two civilians going to survive? He asks. Dennis chuckles at this, and I'm relieved to see that his eyes are open. He gives us a lazy thumbs up. One is stitched up and good to go, but the other one is here and in bad shape. He needs immediate medical attention. Understood, Barksdale says. Amy, it's quite nice to see that you have survived, he says. Were there any others? The aloof way this asshole is talking to us is getting under my skin. A guy named Marcus that works on the first level from IT, Amy says. That's all I know for sure. Marcus Papscott, Barksdale says. Where is he? We're not sure, I say. He was separated from us. Oh. Barksdale clearly taken aback from my stern reply. That's unfortunate. Barksdale seems to think about something and then looks directly at me. You're with the logging crew, aren't you? Remind me, how did you get in here again? We were searching for our crew. Ah, makes sense. The cloaks for the entrance shed are tied up to my primary source, Barksdale says, and we lost primary power just before the experiment failed. Cloak? I ask. Yes, Strickland says. The shed you entered is usually not visible to the naked eye. depending on the power source that were damaged. Barksdale continues. It could have also shut down the locking systems before backups kicked in. Everything is starting to make sense now. From the very start, it had seemed peculiar that we'd so easily been able to walk into this place like this. What caused the experiment? He doesn't know where your crew is. Your crew hit one of our main power lines. We aren't sure exactly how, but we know that's what did it. You're trying to blame all this on me? I roar. The timing was unfortunate, Barksdale says. So where's the rest of our crew? Your crew? Barksdale asks. Frank and Joe? They're gone. Gone? Where? Gone where? Dennis asks, his voice trembling. They were annihilated by the antimatter pockets created during the failure. A bright ball of light destroyed them. In the aftermath, all you'd see would be a round hole in the ground. Barksdale says this is like he's sharing yesterday's sports scores. I let my face crumple into my hands. I'd suspected this all this time, that they were already dead. Behind me, Dennis lets out the beginning of a sob. Damn it. Damn it, he mutters, over and over. So, Amy asks, what do we do now? Now? It's time to continue our work, Barksdale says calmly, turning to the instruments on the near wall. Oh, shoot. Just keep quiet for now, keep quiet for now. This guy sounds like a complete lunatic. But he's a lunatic that's accustomed to power and armed with some type of advanced weaponry. So I keep my intentions unspoken, assuming Barksdale is used to going unchallenged by people he considers beneath him. He certainly seems like that type. I want to continue my work, Barksdale muses. Other researchers will eventually discover that we have, sure. But I want it to be me. This is my laboratory. These are my experiments. The work I've led here will earn me a place in history. And quite frankly, I don't need to explain it to you. Up on the surface, they'll struggle to defend themselves, since they won't know what they're dealing with. I have the necessary weapons. After a few months, who knows? Maybe I'll decide the world is ready for me to help them, and we'll go from there. He turns his back to us and says this, walking to the far side of the chamber, like we're some kind of distraction. Amy takes this opportunity to whisper to us. We need to hit that switch, she says. It's the only option. What he's saying is murder, treason, genocide. She looks over to Strickland for support. Trailing off, but Strickland looks at the ground, clearly torn. She won't look anyone in the eye, and makes an effort not to look at Barksdale. He seems distracted with whatever instruments he's studying on the far side of the room. At this moment, I realize my body feels like a bomb went off inside it. Maybe those painkillers wouldn't have been so bad. Strickland finally whispers a response. Even if we decide that we want to hit that switch, Barksdale won't allow us. To hell with him. You can figure something out, right? You can figure something out. Maybe you guys can make a break for it, Strickland whispers. Where's the switch located? Amy asks. There's an elevator out in the hangar, Strickland says. Take it to the basement. The switch is at the end of a long tunnel. But Strickland never finishes. Two things happen at once as she speaks, her mouth stopping in mid-sentence. First, a loud booming noise rings out, and then the top of her head seems to explode. Amy screams out in surprise, and Dennis and I jump back in shock as Strickland's body collapses beside me. Behind her fallen body, Barksdale is holding his experimental rifle, and now he's pointing it at us. What the hell just happened? Bro, no. Oh, I'm speechless right now. What the hell just happened? Marcel just blew her freaking head off. Blew her head off. Oh my god. Alright guys. Alright, well. I'm gonna go ahead and yeah, leave it right there for now. I'm gonna leave it right there for now, cause that shit right there is crazy. Barksdale needs to go. He needs to go. I should have shot him while I had the chance. Alright guys, thank you for stopping in. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Join the Royal Army. Hit that subscribe button. And talk to me. I want to get to know you guys, alright? And I want to get your thoughts on this Barksdale fella. Because he seems like a crazy ass man. Alright. With that, King Basics out.